Hello there and welcome to One Healthy World. I'm Dr. Gemma Newman, a GP and physician from the UK.
And I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll.
Today, we have a very exciting topic on our hands. It's the topic of menopause. Now, many of you might not feel excited about menopause. I don't know if you've ever thought much about menopause, Chuck.
I can't say that I have as a guy. It's definitely not top of mind, but I'm eager to learn today.
Great. And I'm eager to go on that journey with you because we have some incredible guests. Now, I personally have spent a long time not really looking forward to menopause because what we hear is you just get hot flashes and you get mood swings, and these hormonal changes can lead to all sorts of issues physically. We can have reduction in our bone mineral density, we can have increased risk of heart disease, but you know what? It is not all doom and gloom. Like with many things, there is so much we can do in our lifestyle to ease that wonderful transition into what we could call our second spring. And of course, we have Dr. Nitu Bajekal here joining us, telling us all about the benefits of using lifestyle for our advantage during these transitional years. What do you think, Chuck?
I think that sounds great. And I love the fact that you said not doom and gloom because the little bit that most guys do know about menopause does not sound like much fun. So I'm definitely ready to learn with you today.
Great. Let's bring it on and chat with Dr. Nitu Bajekal.
Hello, Gemma. Hello, Chuck. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here. I want to talk about nutrition in menopause because it's often an area that is not really looked at by doctors and is neglected. What I want to highlight is that it's never too early and never too late to start making changes in your diet and in your lifestyle to improve and reduce the symptoms of menopause. And we know this from many studies. We know that vegans suffer less bothersome symptoms from studies that have been done from menopausal symptoms. We also know that those who live in the West seem to suffer more from hot flashes, about 8 out of 10 people compared to 2 out of 10 in Hong Kong and Singapore. And we think this may be due to the higher levels of saturated fat, which comes mostly from animal foods. We also know that people in the West tend to carry more weight. So there's more likelihood of being medically obese or medically overweight, and raised body mass index tends to correlate with increased menopausal symptoms. So what should be the foods that one should be focusing on? I would always encourage people to try and eat a plant predominant diet, and if possible, eat a plant exclusive whole food plant-based diet. And by this, I mean a diet that is rich in beans and complex carbohydrates, in whole grains, as well as fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices, and making sure that you also include mushrooms and a specific mention to soya, which I'll be coming on about. Now, in menopause, I would like you to have a little bit more focus on beans. And the reason we talk about legumes, or which beans are a part of the family, is because they contain plant estrogens. And plant estrogens can really make a difference to how you experience menopausal symptoms. And so there are various types of beans. There's no one bean better than the other, except when we come to soy. And so try and have a range of different beans in your diet and find delicious ways to cook them. And if you're not used to eating beans, try and start eating small amounts, cook them thoroughly, make sure that they're soft, they're mashable with a fork, and then start perhaps sometimes with lentils and then slowly go on to the bigger beans so that you can actually enjoy the benefits of phytoestrogens or plant estrogens. But beans also contain a lot of fiber, which is very good because then the gut bacteria that help synthesize estrogen in the gut and for us to excrete the excess amounts of excess estrogen, which is implicated in many conditions, the estrobolome, which is part of the gut microbiome, improves when you eat a lot of fiber. There was a wonderful study by Dr. Neil Barnard and his team called the VAVS trial, where it was looked at the number of women who were eating a low-fat plant-based diet along with just half a cup of mature soybeans, about 86 grams, found an 84% reduction in their hot flashes and in their vasomotor symptoms, which means hot flashes and night sweats. That's an amazing response and is something that's quite easy to do. Now, the way to try and bring this into your regular life, I would recommend having 2 to 4 portions of soy on a daily basis. And that could look like a glass of soy milk, as well as maybe some soy yogurt, a cup of edamame beans in your salad, as well as maybe a handful of tofu or tempeh. So by doing this, you will get isoflavones or the plant estrogens, which will help to reduce the menopausal symptoms. So remember, when you are eating a plant-based diet, you're not only bringing in fiber and healthy plant protein, but you're also bringing in these plant estrogens that will help to strengthen your bones and reduce your menopausal symptoms. I also want to focus on herbs and spices because we know that spices like cinnamon can regulate blood sugar, the spices like turmeric can reduce inflammation. And so when you eat an anti-inflammatory whole food plant-based diet, you tend to suffer less from menopausal symptoms. And even taking in beans like the soybean and watermelon has been shown to improve vaginal lubrication because we know that vaginal discharge and lubrication tends to reduce in menopause. I also want you to try and have 1 to 2 tablespoons of milled flaxseed or linseed because we know they're also rich in lignans, which are another type of plant estrogens, which can help to reduce menopausal hot flashes, but also reduce the risk of breast cancer, just like the soybean does, as well as increasing the amount of fiber that it brings into your diet. Mushrooms and green tea are also great inclusions in one's diet in the menopause because it'll help to reduce the risk of breast cancer. So when you're looking at nutrition in menopause, remember it's never too early and never too late to bring in changes. Bring them in slowly so that you do not get overwhelmed. Try to crowd out foods that do not bring health and bring in color into your plate. By this way, you will find that you will enjoy a lovely, joyful diet, but will also find big improvements in your menopausal symptoms, whether you need hormone replacement therapy or not. But you'll also see improvements and reduction in risks of many lifestyle related cancers, as well as conditions like dementia and heart disease. Over to you, Chuck and Gemma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nitu Bajekal, for sharing your valuable insights through your 30-year career as a gynecologist and also through your own personal journey with menopause. And I also want to let our listeners know that if you want to learn more from Dr. Bajekal, you must check out her brand new book, Finding Me in Menopause. This really is a wonderful piece of work outlining all of her years of experience, and it includes delicious recipes as well. Now, let's hear a little bit more about a patient perspective and what she experienced during her menopause. Margo LaMarsh had an incredible journey and a powerful outcome, and she is all too happy to share that with us today. Welcome, Margo.
Hi, I'm Margo LaMarsh, and I was part of the hot flash study. I was having hot flashes several times a day, and extreme hot flashes too, where, especially at night, I would sometimes go through, a couple pairs of pajamas, in a one night time span. So I had hot flashes during the day, a couple, 3-4 times. And then at night, I was up probably 2 or 3 times with the hot flashes. As far as my overall health, I was having trouble sleeping. And I was a little bit overweight and feeling a little bit sluggish. So I changed my diet to a low fat, no sugar, no oil, added oil, whole foods, plants only diet with half a cup of soybeans every day. I think the changes started probably around 10 days. My hot flashes were less frequent and they were also less intense. I didn't have the, change of the pajamas in the middle of the night because the hot flashes were so bad. In the beginning, I was still having hot flashes at night, but it wasn't so intense that I had to, that I was sweating so much that I had to, change clothes. And I also just felt like I had more energy. I just felt better. I was carrying around 20 extra pounds, and I think eating the low fat helped me lose those 20 extra pounds, which then helped me feel better. It's the holistic, approach of it all. Just the whole diet made me just feel so much better. I have so much more energy. My skin is clearer. My skin it didn't get dry this winter. Just overall, it was just a wonderful experience. Right now, I can go days without having a hot flash. And when I do have a hot flash, it's very mild. I would recommend this, preach it to everybody who will listen. I know a lot of people are like, roll their eyes. Oh, I could never do that. I could never give up my cheese, could never. But I tell people, try it for a little bit. It didn't take that long for me to see results. I will say, after the study, I went back to my old habits of, well, just this once. Well, it's the holidays and my kids are eating this, blah, blah, blah. And I added things back into my diet, and, I started having hot flashes right away again. So it's a real, it makes you want to feel good and not go back to having all those hot flashes. Every time I, do something that's not good and I go back to having those hot flashes, I think, oh, yeah, I know I can't go back there again.
Thank you very much to Margo LaMarsh for sharing her incredible journey, which does give a lot of hope to many women who are going through this transition of life or who are expecting to do so. Now, interestingly, I see many patients wanting to talk to me about their own menopause transition. And interestingly, this can happen from as early as your sort of early to mid 40s, because the perimenopause can last for up to a decade before you finally have your last menstrual period. And I also want to just say a little bit about HRT. Hormone replacement is something that many women want to discuss with me, and I will use HRT for the right patient when she has also discussed things like lifestyle changes, because I do believe they can be very helpful hand in hand. Having said that, HRT is not suitable for everyone, so it is important that you discuss this with your doctor. Now, let's hear from Anne-Christine, who will help us put all the things that we've learned into practice over in the kitchen. Welcome, Anne-Christine.
Today we're opting for hot cakes instead of hot flashes. Hello friends, it's Anne from Veggie Magnifique, your go-to for holistic wellness and a healthy vegan lifestyle. Today we're talking diet, menopause, and pancakes. Now, can hotcakes really help you to calm the hot flashes? Yes. Here's why. It turns out that soy milk and flaxseed have been shown to reduce menopausal symptoms. Now, this is good news because these are a few of the key ingredients in my favorite pancake recipe. Add to it that we're going to be using a fiber-rich oat flour, as well as adding in some antioxidant-rich berries, and you'll be feeling fine in no time. Let's do this. So for these pancakes, you'll need 2 tablespoons ground flaxseed and 6 tablespoons warm water, 2 cups soy milk, 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 2 cups blended oats or oat flour, 2 tablespoons coconut sugar, 2 tablespoons baking powder, and 1 teaspoon salt. So first off, we're going to make our flax egg and let it congeal for a while. Then to the same bowl, because who has time to wash 2 bowls? Not me. Add the soy milk and apple cider vinegar and wait a minute. And then add the vanilla, oat flour, coconut sugar, baking powder, and salt. And gently stir to combine. Don't overstir, a few lumps is perfect. Now wait for a few for your batter to fluff and heat up your skillet. Now I prefer to use non-stick for no oil, but sadly my non-stick pan is totally sticking, so we're going OG with a cast iron. So we're going to unfortunately have to add a little vegan butter, but use a non-stick. Then you just pour and flip. Pile them high and add on some berries, and if you're feeling cheeky, a little maple syrup to serve, and voila. And in a hot minute, we just made menopause a lot more delicious.
Thank you so much, Anne-Christine. And Dr. Newman, as a guy, I honestly don't even feel like I should be part of today's show. But nonetheless, I'm grateful to have learned what I did here today.
Thank you, Chuck. No, I am grateful that you are here with us. You know, there was a famous quote by Rod Stewart, and he said that there'd be far less divorces in this world if men understood menopause better. So the fact that you are here learning about menopause is so important. And I think that all men should listen to One Healthy World so that they can support their partners in just the same way.
I think men should be listening more to Rod Stewart as well. That seems like sage advice, to be honest with you.
It is. It is important because it's a time of life where lots of things change for women. And, you know, I also want to shout out to the benefits of other lifestyle measures that we can include that will improve our menopause transition. Things like making sure that we prioritize good sleep and making sure that we move our bodies. And many women also don't realize some of the fundamental improvements we can make in our bone mineral density and our strength and our muscle mass from doing weight training during those menopause years, which is something I think hopefully many women are learning more about these days.
And you know what really surprises me too, talking about lifestyle changes and diet too here today, specifically with the diet, is how much soy is beneficial in terms of staving off the hot flashes and reversing some of those, or at least tamping down those just ungodly menopausal symptoms. Soy of all things, Dr. Newman.
Yeah, it's an amazing little bean. And, you know, part of the reason for that is the isoflavones, those so-called phytoestrogens that will really help to reduce your hot flushes, which are called vasomotor symptoms. They occur often because of the shifts in estrogen that we experience. 1 minute high, 1 minute low, that can cause a flash. But luckily, with this magic little bean, we could potentially reduce our risk of experiencing that. So, yeah, really glad that we're able to share that today.
Well, undoubtedly, today we have learned, Dr. Newman, that diet and lifestyle can play a huge role in improving those pesky menopausal symptoms. But we also know that they can play a big role with heart health. And next time on One Healthy World, we're going to be talking about a heart attack survivor's guide to a healthier future.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this episode. We will be joined by Dr. Heather Schenkman and, as Chuck mentioned, heart attack survivor Joel Erickson, who is living his very best life just 1 year after a massive heart attack could have devastated his family.
Unbelievable story from Joel. So stay tuned for that. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to us here on YouTube. A big show is on the way. So if you subscribe, you won't miss any of our episodes as we continue to explore One Healthy World.